Hello everybody and welcome along to another edition of Drogheda District Chamber Taking Care of Business. My guest today is Mark McGowan. Oh, by the way, I'm Michael Gerard, and in the background is Shane Monaghan from Limor, who's taking some video footage and some content pictures for the website. So Mark, how are we doing today?
Very good, thanks a million, Michael. Yeah, absolutely pity about the weather, but other than that, we're going all right. Looking forward to a busy night of trade here at Sunday Street. So what more can I say?
So you mentioned Sunday Street. For people who've passed it, for many years, this would have been vacant or was used for something else. So when did the concept of Sunday Street come into your head? And from when it was in your head until where we're sitting now, how long did that process take?
Yeah, so I suppose joint operation between myself, my brother and my folks. We opened up Peggy Moore's in 2020, and then so that was literally February 2020. 4 weeks later, the pandemic kicked off, COVID, and we were closed for 2 years. But we were always looking at this premises. It was vacant. Jerry Brady from up in the Pheasant there had it, and we were leasing it off him, and we were kind of using it for storage because we were fairly restricted in Peggy Moore's from a storage point of view. And I suppose we were kind of concerned that somebody else would end up taking over, and you know, they might do a great job, they might also do a bad job, and if they did that, well, then it might affect Peggy Moore's. So the little triangle that we have between Scholars, Peggy's and now Sunday Street has been pivotal, I suppose, in our future plans, and it was always part of it. Scholars hasn't really got a big function space, so, and either does Peggy's. So this is a really good, we're in the warehouse here at the moment, so it's perfect for functions for up to 100 people. We've pizzeria down below, and that'll sit close to about 80. And we've Geraldine's Cafe down to the front as well. So there's a multitude of operations going on here, and they're all little areas that we didn't have. So Scholars is obviously modern Irish quality dining. I don't like saying fine dining anymore. It's more of a quality dining experience. We have the Gastro Lounge there as well. All three places focusing very much on local produce. And then Peggy Moore's, we have more of a street food kind of an infrastructure with the menus there. Burgers, wings, chicken burgers, that kind of thing. Very casual. You can also book parties over there as well. We do that in the form of platters and that kind of thing. But we realised we needed a bigger space to take these bookings. We're turning away a huge amount of large bookings for any events, whether they be engagement parties, 21st, 50th birthdays, even the odd funeral we've had here. So I mean, it's another entity, I suppose, that we have, and it's another option for us. It gives us a bit more versatility when it comes down to operating in a hospitality environment.
So is it tough trying to run all these businesses and try and keep a step ahead of trends? You know, you have to sort of always be focusing ahead and be aware of your competitors and what they're doing. So, and you have to have your own mark on the places as well. As you said, Peggy Moore's is different than Scholars. Here is completely different from Scholars and what was I going to say? I did say Peggy Moore's, didn't I? Yeah. Look, it's the weekend. So is it difficult to sort of keep, ahead of stuff like that?
Yeah, the concept, I suppose, we're open 20 years now in Scholars this year. This will be our 20th Christmas. And we've always been, we went for a higher market there. It was a niche product. Originally, we started off very much fine dining. We started off just with the restaurant there as well. We learned as we went along. There was a lot of mistakes on the way, and we realised that we needed to have more of a casual side to the business as well. So that's what happened with the Gastro Lounge, and that's probably the most popular. Scholars, I suppose, does have certain times a year, whether it be Mother's Day, those celebratory times a year are really important for that white linen tablecloth service, and there's nothing like that around. And then when we opened up Peggy Moore's, again, it was kind of out of... we had a small bar, and we knew that we were restricted space-wise. And when Peggy Moore's came up, it was Moore's pub, but Peggy Moore was the original. She was actually, I remember it was her 90th birthday she had in Scholars. And she was still serving at that stage over in Peggy's, and then she retired herself, and her sister Sissy, I think, were serving. And when the opportunity came up the first time to buy the pub, we didn't get it. The for sale sign came down. I think the family were deciding what they were going to do with it. And then second time round, we were chatting to Damien Moore, who would have been one of the, I think, grandchildren of Peggy, who had the building, and we decided that we done a deal, done a handshake with him for it, and he was kind of happy that we were going to keep the name Moore's and we weren't going to turn it into a block of flats. And we're very much hospitality people. We said we would do that, and it means that we're not sending customers down to other premises. We get to keep keep the market for ourselves, which was a very important factor in terms of making Scholars work as well, because they're all under the one umbrella. And then a couple of years later, then again, you see the opportunity that we were turning bookings away, and we needed a bigger space again. So the trio was really working. We're kind of the little triangle, and they're all working hand in hand really, really well. Customers are jumping between the two. You might have people coming in for pre-dinner drinks in Peggy's, heading to Scholars or here, or else they're coming in here first and then finishing off in Peggy. So the three of them are working really well together. And then from a tourism entity, we've 12 bedrooms in Scholars, we've 12 bedrooms above here in Sunday Street, 40 beds above Peggy Moore's, and that's more of a backpacker scenario. Scholars is a 3-star hotel, and this is more along the lines of boutique accommodation under a welcome standard with Fáilte Ireland. But all three, very good tourism products and an opportunity for people to put the head down if they want, and also helps, I suppose, around the town. It all contributes into the local economy in some way, shape or form. The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker type scenario, it just feeds. They feed off each other, which is brilliant, and they contribute towards the town, the local golf courses, all the heritage sites, and all the other amenities that Drogheda needs. So, we could have 3,000 or 4,000 tourists coming through the doors here, and they contribute locally, which is fantastic.
Like you mentioned Scholars there a few times, and as well as that, your family. So all of this is a family-run business. So before Scholars, were your family involved in hospitality before Scholars, or what were they involved in?
So we had originally, my great grandfather had a pub in Bagot Street. He had a couple of pubs. I believe he had to do a bit of a runner to Scotland then at one stage. I think the taxman was after him, and he came back then and opened up McGowan's pub in Phibsborough, and that's still within the family. My uncle Paddy has that with his sons, and he's operating that. They have 4 Dame Lane in Dublin, and they have Bad Bob's in Temple Bar. And my other uncle has McGowan's at Harold's Cross. They had the Kestrel and Walkinstown around, a few other places. So very much ingrained in the pub game, I suppose. So hotel was new. We were the first ones to branch out into a hotel scenario. And I remember years ago, 20 years ago now, the opportunity came up. This property in Drogheda was up for sale. And my dad got word from his solicitor who knew somebody up here and says, look, they're selling the property up there, it might just suit you. Came up and he had a look at it, and the rest is history. We're there 20 years now, so we went back to what we do best, which was hospitality, and we stuck with it.
As everyone knows, looking at news on a regular basis, it's really challenging times for all businesses, but from time to time we see in the news like people like yourself, getting in touch with government and this VAT rate and stuff like that. It's tough for hospitality. You see places closing down, and at tough times like this, fair play to yourselves and your family are opening up new places as well. So the question is, how difficult is it in this day and age, 2025 going into 26, to keep places like that open? And if the drop in the VAT did drop to a certain percentage, how would that be more beneficial for you?
Well, one of the things that we're not in control of, I suppose, so much is the external environment, and that would include the likes of the VAT rate, which we lobbied very hard for. I was the president of the Restaurants Association of Ireland there for 3 years and it just turned out that it was during COVID, a very challenging time for the industry. But we've always been lobbying hard in terms of keeping that special VAT rate at 9%. Was at 13.5%, so that 4.5% drop is a huge factor in terms of businesses staying open. The unfortunate thing is it's not going to happen until July, which is 6 months down the line after Christmas, and we've got auto enrolment with the pensions. You have more pay rises. The wage bill is it's astronomical. In all, we've 85 staff now, with 95 going into a peak period, and you're looking at probably 50 cent in every euro. So if anybody, I'm just after going back to college. Actually, I've done a degree in hospitality management, and they're still teaching people that you should be around 23% in terms of labour costs, which is it's ridiculous. It just doesn't happen. If you want to be competitive and retain staff and get quality staff in, you need to be paying them well. We surround ourselves with the best. We have a really good team. We've staff that are with us in Scholars for 20 years. We've a really good team here. Very, very skilled individuals, from baristas in the cafe to sommeliers and Scholars, really high quality chefs. So have to be paid well. But unfortunately, the problem is that it's 50% now of every euro that comes in, 50 cent is going on labour, and that's only going to increase. So it's a scary time.
So advice for entrepreneurs, who would like to get involved in the hospitality business, not necessarily restaurants, but within the pub game just in general. What advice would you give those, to stay out or give it a go and maybe come up with some different ideas from other places like yourself. I mean, as you say, it's very tough. Would you say to them, don't go near it, do something else, or what advice would you give young people?
It's a very difficult and challenging environment, hospitality. I think unless you're you need to have your wits about you and you need to understand the game. I think there's no point. There's a lot of people who have this dream or passion going, I'm going to open up a coffee shop or a restaurant. Do your research, really study it and find it. Make sure you have, you've a niche there, really good solid business plans going in, that you know what you're getting into, because it's a very tricky business. It's a low margin business, and it's challenging. But unless you're willing to put the work in yourself as well, there's no point in opening up and a field of dreams scenario, build it and they will come. It doesn't happen. That's la land stuff. You have to be able to put the work in yourself. Like, I mean, myself and my brother are probably doing 50, 60 times 70 hours here a week. Like, you have to be on site. You have to be willing to do everything.
And how's Geraldine's doing as well? That's sort of a little cafe stroke coffee shop. I mean, that used to be a hairdresser years ago, wasn't it? And if you've never been in, do pop in, because I mean, like, you have the seats that would have been used in the old hairdressers. You have the old hair dryers, and is that something that you wanted to keep, that tradition from going back to when it was a hairdresser and all that stuff? Because yet again, it's different from any other coffee shop in town.
Absolutely. Look, we love retaining the history and harnessing that, because at the end of the day, I think that's an asset. So if you look at the old buildings we have around Drogheda, like any of the buildings that we've had, we've harnessed the history. Like I could even start at Scholars. Like, we'd 4 pivotal figures that have been through that business. So Eamon Cant, he was a signatory on our proclamation. We've a plaque up on the wall for him. John Philip Holland built the submarine. He was a teacher in that building at one stage under the Christian Brothers. We've a monument in the car park representing his achievements. T.K. Whitaker, he was through the building as well. He was an economist under Sean Lamass. And Tomas O'Bucala, he would be the 4th one. But then Peggy Moore's, we kept that as good as we could, with all of everything that was upstairs in the attic there, we put up on the walls downstairs. And the locals love seeing the history, so why wouldn't we do it with Geraldine's? It was there for 40 years. We met Geraldine herself. She had great stories. It was already a hub within the community. People are coming back. There's nostalgia there. So the team was always going to be surrounded around by Geraldine's, and that's why we called it Geraldine's, to keep her name fresh, keep her name alive. She was there for 40 years. You've young girls coming in there saying, geez, I remember my mommy getting her hair done there, and that kind of thing. So it brings it back, and Geraldine would have known to give her customers a coffee when they came in the door as well. So we're continuing that tradition in a way, and you can see that with the memorabilia, the old bits and pieces, the antique hair dryers and all that are up on the wall, and very much kind of we're trying to entice that female audience as well. You can see a bit of lighting in there and that kind of thing, but funny enough, all the lads are coming in as well. They love it. They enjoy the pastries. Everything is homemade from scratch. We've Lana in the kitchen there. She's baking, like, even the pastry itself. We're not buying any of the pastry in. She's rolling out pastry by hand in the morning times. It's as fresh as you will get. It's absolutely fabulous. So hopefully that'll go. It's going very well. I'm really happy with the way that's taken off, and the coffee trade is really good. That's like, it's something, because I think people are actually they're getting more healthy. They're getting away from boozing the whole time. So it's not all drink anymore. You have to have many different facets. You have to be able to diversify and go into many different facets. And I've always said, anybody that's opened up a pub, I'd recommend them maybe sticking a coffee machine at the end of the counter, upskill your bar staff, turn them into baristas as well, because you're not just a pub anymore. You're a hospitality enterprise, and you have to be able to do everything, I think,
Yeah. So last question, well, probably second last question. In 5 years' time, where can you see yourself and all these businesses that you have within a small district in Drogheda?
I think it's important that we concentrate on these and make sure we're sustainable. Anybody we're taking on, we've an obligation to make sure that they've got their hours and everything else. And I think if you branch out too far, you could let it slip. We want to make sure that the quality is there with Scholars. Scholars doesn't dip. This place doesn't dip, and the same with Peggy Moore's. Let's keep that quality there, and then if an opportunity arose in later years, I mean, as well as that, part of that retention mechanism of keeping staff, they want to make sure that they can look forward to progressing within the industry. And the only way that will happen is if you got another place and one of the girls or lads that have been there for a long time have an opportunity to become a manager. Otherwise they might just branch out and do their own thing or move on. So if we can do that and keep everybody happy and make sure we're sustainable, that's the most important thing. But we have to pay the bank manager back first for this one.
Exactly. And one more question. I mean, we're all passionate about the town, and you see all this negativity and stuff, but and Drogheda has so much to offer Like, I've lived here all my life. Shane, yourself, for most of your life as well. What's the best thing about Drogheda?
I love Drogheda. I love the people. People are absolutely amazing. There's a real will to succeed as a town, collectively, from all the business owners and that. It's not a bad name, but I mean, every town in Ireland has its challenges from an antisocial perspective and that kind of thing. I think it's something we can overcome with more investment into the town. I think that's very, very important. But as a collective, I think that will prevail in that regard. It has massive potential in terms of the geolocation. We're just off the M1 corridor. We've Belfast, Dublin very close to us. We've a port, train stations, everything you need. I moved up from Dublin in 2015. And I wouldn't change it. I love it. My kids are going to school now here. We go out to Drogheda United every week and look at the Drogs playing. It has everything, like, it has your cinemas, it has whatever you need. It's brilliant. Absolutely. Great golf courses. Like, I mean, this is the life. Anybody, and you're coming up and you're getting relatively cheaper housing in comparison to the likes of Dublin, so, I mean, other than traffic in the morning times, I think this is a great town, and I think it could be a great city as well.
Listen, Mark, thanks a million for your time. Continue success with your...
I just want to make one point.
Go ahead, Shane.
Before we finish. Scholars, I'm not just saying this, favourite restaurant in the town. The prawn linguine, unbelievable. And the atmosphere in the lounge with the pub, you don't get much better than that, especially coming into Christmas. So, Mark, I'll see you on the run up to Christmas for a pint, all right?
The decorations are going up now as well, so we're going to be making a big push for Christmas. All the bookings are in. Like, I mean, I'd recommend people to book Christmas 2026 because we're fairly heavily booked now. Christmas Eve is booked out well in advance every year, so try and get in early for next year if you want to get in.
And so if people do want to book for next year, how can you do that?
They can book online, or they can ring up the hotel. The people will be able to book direct. Or if they want to treat one of their relatives or something like that, highly recommend getting a Scholars voucher. We do vouchers in all 3 locations, and they're very important, I suppose, for hospitality business. I'd highly recommend people going as local as they can with vouchers, and even the Love Drogheda gift card is a great thing. But I mean, directly to the businesses is really important as well. And I don't just mean that about my businesses. I mean, try and do it locally if you can. Spend locally with any of the local restaurants, because it gives them a great boost heading into January and the new year, and it nearly keeps them going for the first 3 months of the year when they have that little bit of cash flow keeping them going,
Listen, Mark, thanks a million for your time, and continued success.
No problem at all. Thanks so much. Really enjoyed that.
And if you want to find out more about Drogheda District Chamber taking care of business, go to www.droghedachamber.ie, and we'll talk to you again soon.